Hey everybody. So it looks like there's been some kind of drama with the Razer Viper V2 Pro. I've been trying to avoid reading or looking at any videos or articles about it just because I've been wanting to do this review. So if it seems like there's something missing in terms of whatever the drama's about, forgive me. When I try and put out a video, I try and keep it as clean cut as just purely straight up, hey, this is the product. Whether or not you'll like it, my opinion on it, I just try and keep it straightforward and to the point. Since this is really an update on a mouse that's been out for quite a while, I'm not going to go into all the details, only the stuff that's pertinent in terms of what's new and what may affect whether or not you might want to use this mouse. The shape is safe. It's the Viper, been around forever. Y'all know what the shape is. Great for pretty much any hand size, small, medium, large hand sizes, as depending on what kind of grip you have, pretty much anybody can use the Viper. The right side buttons as well as the side rubber coatings have been removed along with the LED lighting. There's also a reduction in weight down to about 59 grams, so it's a pretty competitive weight. A lot of people were having issues with accidentally clicking the offhand side buttons, and a lot of people were also having issues with the rubber on the sides wearing down or just not liking the way they feel. So all in all, I think these changes are a big win. Also, the skates are a little bit different. They're gray. They're not like the pure white PTFE that you see on a lot of mice, but they do have kind of those rounded edges, as well as there's no more of those sharp corners. So I felt like it went really smooth on the mouse pad. I don't think you really need to swap out the mouse feet for aftermarket skates on this one. I'm the future Kyle from the future. I've come to fill in a boo-boo, the regular dumb past Kyle made. I don't know how long I can keep that up. The Viper V2 Pro comes with V3 optical switches. The previous, most recent versions of the Viper Ultimate came with V2 optical switches. The V3, in my opinion, sounds very similar, just a tiny bit more hollow compared to the V2s, but not by much. It's not very noticeable. I also noticed that the V3 switches are just a hair heavier than the V2 optical switches. And that is all for now. I will return you to the past. Make sure to tell regular dumb past Kyle to get his crud together. The sensor's been upgraded to the Focus Pro. The DPI and the IPS are improved compared to the previous Focus Plus, but practically speaking, I don't think anyone's really going to notice a difference at this point. The Focus Plus, 3370, all these sensors that are modern sensors are so good. Any improvement is very, very incremental. And is it improvement? Yes. Will you notice it? Probably not. I didn't notice a change at all when I was using it in-game. So that's it really. It's lighter now. Some of the unwanted features have been removed. It is also USB-C, so that's one thing to consider. Now the real question is, who is this mouse for? Who's it going to be worth to drop about $150 for the Viper V2 Pro? Personally, I actually really do like this iteration of the Viper. I mained the Viper Ultimate for about 6 months, like back when it first came out. I really liked it then, and this mouse is a pretty big improvement. I do like the way it feels without those rubber sides. The weight reduction is an improvement, but personally, it doesn't bug me at all. 74 grams was perfectly fine. If you're chasing the smallest minute improvements that you can make, then maybe that reduction in weight will help you, but personally, I don't find it super valuable. Honestly, if 74 grams is too heavy for you, just do a few push-ups or get one of those grip exercise things. Like, really, 74 grams is not that heavy. Now, the V2 Pro, compared to the Ultimate, it does feel really nice in hand. It's very light, but while still being light, it's also very sturdy. It doesn't feel very flimsy at all. No creaking, no nothing like that. But you really do have to look at the competition as well as its current price at about $150. That's pretty steep. Now, with its lightweight as well as its overall good build, you would look at it as somewhat of a competitor to the G Pro Superlight. But even that right now is at about $135 on Amazon. So it's actually cheaper just to get the G Pro Superlight. Personally, if I was to pick between the two, I like the shape of the Viper more, as well as the clicks. I prefer the optical switches, and honestly just the shape. That it's too starchy, too potatoey for me. I really do like the lower shape of the Viper. I also do like the coat as well. It's more of a matte textured coat. I prefer it over the G Pro. But what if you already have a Viper Ultimate? Should you upgrade? Well, if you really dislike, you have problems with those side buttons on the offhand side, or if those side grips are starting to wear down, then upgrading to the V2 Pro may be worth it, since along with those changes, you're also getting better components, as well as just a generally solid feeling mouse. But the thing is, if you don't have either, and you're considering, well, do I want the Ultimate? Do I want the V2 Pro? Consider that the Ultimate, you can get it for about $75 right now, and that's including the dock, which is just a really good price. That's a steal. A little easier than using a cable. I mean, sure, you're still having to recharge, but if you're using the cable, that means you have to pull off the extender for the dongle if you're using it, take that off, plug it in. There's just a couple more steps to it that you can avoid just by using the dock. The dock itself also has a USB slot, so you can put the dongle right into the dock. Another thing to consider is that if you're using Razer's other Ultimate type mice, they all use that charging dock too. So if you're someone who likes to have multiple mice on their desk, it's nice to have that one charging dock and you can just swap them out while you're doing certain tasks on your computer. The other thing to consider is the weight. The new V2 Pro is just barely 60 grams, while the older versions, the Viper Ultimate, is about 74 grams. Now, in my opinion, that big a price gap isn't worth that alone. I mean, is it an improvement? Yeah, it is nicer for it to be that much lighter, it feels like you can glide easier, but really 74 grams is not that heavy. If you're someone who's trying to get the top score in Kovacs and every millisecond makes a difference for you, sure, the V2 Pro may be a good option for you. But for the vast majority of people, honestly, I think at 74 grams, the Viper Ultimate's a good choice, especially at that price point. Ultimately, I really do like this mouse in isolation. In and of itself, it's a really good mouse. In my opinion, I can see why it's priced that way, because there's a lot of R&D that goes into, hey, we redesigned the sensor's been upgraded, the switches have also been upgraded. They talk about something with like motion sync or something. I don't know how much of that is legit, to be totally frank, but hey, research and development went into the mouse. I get that the price has to be kind of high to recoup some of that. My issue in terms of recommending it is that there are so many other options that are really close in performance that are drastically more cost effective, with some benefits that the V2 Pro actually gives up on. Honestly, my recommendation right now would probably be just to wait for the price to come down, and inevitably will. Wait for that price to come down, go on sale or something, and then pick it up. Maybe a little bit better bang for your buck at that point. Really, if you're someone who's really chasing the top performance from your mice and from your peripherals, yeah, the V2 Pro seems to be up there along with the G Pro Superlight. But for your general user, for most people, I can't necessarily say it's worth the price. For me, I would rather spend the $75 on a nice dock for the convenience of charging and get the Viper Ultimate rather than the V2 Pro, at least at this point. So thank you all for watching. I hope you liked the video. Honestly, Razer keeps confusing and shocking me by re-releasing these really well-established, already really good mice when the Viper Mini has been super kind of left out. People really want that Viper Mini wireless. Look, I'm not an economist, but I feel like they're kind of missing the boat here. Anyhow, y'all take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one, okay? Later.